Vikram from Superform, who will be talking about how the next vault primitive is an operating system. Welcome Vikram on stage, everyone.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Hopefully you can hear me all right. My name's Vikram, and I'm excited to talk to you today about what I believe the next primitive is in the vault space, which is a full-fledged operating system. Okay, so far we've been conditioned to think that primitives in crypto generally have to be on-chain code, whether they're ERC20 tokens or they're ERC721 for NFTs. We have ERC4626 for vaults. And just a little bit of history behind this. 3 years ago, we had only $1.5 billion in vault products on chain, which was less than 2% of TVL at the time. And funny enough, there's really all came in one product, which was SDAI, which was 900 million out of that 1.5 billion. And now, on-chain primitives through vaults have secured over 60 billion in TVL, and that is over 80% of all of DeFi TVL right now. And we have multiple standards. We have ERC4626 for DeFi. We have ERC7540 for RWAs, for private credit, for any async flows. And collectively, these new on-chain primitives have become the most dominant way to allocate capital on-chain. But we're all here in this room because vaults are very complicated instruments, and not everything can be done for a vault on-chain. So the fork in the road that we're in right now is we started off in 2020 with DeFi yield farms. We took two different paths to scale them. One was we had on-chain vaults that were operated via on-chain code, think Aave, Compound, and then we had the other, which was private vaults, DeFi platforms. Those were off-chain vaults that were allocating on-chain. Done well, they became Fireblocks and Anchorage. Done poorly, they became things like Celsius and BlockFi. And both of them were too risky in their own ways. If I had on-chain vaults, one line of smart contract code, one line of solidity, my vault's exploited. If I had the off-chain vaults, we all know what happened with BlockFi and Celsius. So collectively, we coalesced around this one model, which was on-chain vaults that were operated off-chain. And that was faster to scale, they were cheaper to execute, easier to secure, and then they were more composable, and we could actually use them for things on-chain. But we're finding out right now that on-chain code can only take us so far. And also that being on-chain does not mean you're necessarily non-custodial. And you can have a public vault, but the strategy is not. And that is a very important distinction that we've been talking about throughout the entire day is on the regulatory side of it, how do we actually create non-custodial vaults on-chain? And it comes down to the fact that vaults are 2/3 of the way in terms of solving this entire stack. We have most vault frameworks these days, we know who can do things. So we have roles in them, you can call them guardians, operators, curators. These are all public, and they are doing specific actions on certain functions in a vault. We know what they can do. There might be whitelisted contracts. We have Merkle trees that are actually being used for verification on-chain. Some of them will even make sure that the execution of call data is efficient. But the most important thing is that we don't know how they're doing it. And a lot of these vaults that have these off-chain strategies, we don't know how money's being moved, how things are being added to vaults, why the strategy is changing, and there's no way to actually enforce the investment mandate or prospectus. And doing the first two, we're realizing makes it a competitive product to TradFi. But if we actually want to win here, we have to become a trustless primitive, and that's what the operating system allows us to do. So the missing piece here is that vault standards made the container public, but now we need to standardize the permissions, the rules, the data sources, and then the execution and pricing. And this is collectively what I refer to as the operating system. So this is how Superform has constructed the operating system. I don't want to prescribe this as the one operating system that is possible, but I think everyone should be trying to create an operating system around vault products. And the general pathway for how this system functions is first you declare intents. So for example, for a vault product right now, I'm going to have a liquid lending sleeve that's allocating toward Morpho and Aave. I could have a tactical sleeve that's more illiquid, that's in an RWA opportunity, private credit. And then I could have another allocation here that could be going off-chain. So you have mandates, thresholds, risk limits, allocation rules. All of that can then be compiled into rules that are public for everyone to see. So this is an example of how Superform does it, where we're going to be allocating our CBBTC to a Morpho vault, and it'll be executing on an automation as long as the amount of free assets in a vault are above a certain percentage. So for example, I'm going to have 99% of my vault that's allocated toward an earning opportunity. Another 1% of it's going to be liquid for any redemptions. And any strategist can come into the platform with their own customizable data plugins. They can set a rule tree, priorities, expressions, and then anyone or anything can write these. So there's a UI for this, but at the end of it, over the next year, I think we'll have a lot of people in this room probably creating agents to actually be managing these funds, and they're going to use operating systems to actually make sure they're being safe and secure. And then the last thing is the automation of execution. Most important thing is that the operating system is made public for everyone to see. Smart contract code, the reason why DeFi became so big in the first place is that where it's transparent, it's verifiable, it's all on chain. Now we have a lot of code that's being written off chain that is being done by individual curators or managers, which is going to be made public. So this is the general Superform stack. We have strategy workspaces, APIs, and whitelisting of stuff on chain to make sure that whatever code is being written off chain is still verified and executed on chain. Yeah. So at the end of it, I think the reason why we're all here in this room is that we believe in the original DeFi vision, which is that vaults are better containers of capital, and as more asset managers come on chain, the way that we keep DeFi the way it was, while still acknowledging that it needs to evolve, is that public vaults need public operations. And we've historically viewed vault primitives as just being contract code on chain, but for these managers to actually be able to do everything that they want to on chain, it's going to require a lot more customizability and stuff that requires an entire operating system built around the smart contracts on chain. And collectively, the vault plus the operating system becomes something that we can not only trust, but we can verify. And that's why we're here building vaults. So yeah, that's all I have. If you're curious to learn more about Superform, you can go to Superform XYZ. The operating system that we launched last week is os.superformxyz. And yeah, here to make vaults public again. Thanks.